Good morning. I don't want to give you the impression that doing vegetable gardening you have to be up at the crack of dawn every single time that you work in the garden and be out here before the sun rises and work till the sun sets. Not necessarily the case. If you're going to start gardening, I'll always keep going back to it. You don't need to make a garden quite this big. Maybe over the course of this year I'll try to put in a little bit why I garden and what I get out of it. It's on the enjoyable side of things. But working on today's a little abbreviated. Had a nice morning in the house. You can tell by some of the sounds of the city that I don't even know what time it is, 10-ish. So a little bit later, we've got some people working in their yards, which is really cool. A couple people mowing. Yeah, spring is really here. So I checked the long-range forecast before I even started today, and we're not even, there's no more freezes 14 days out, so I think we're there. We've got one more week, or one more day of cleaning garden. That's going to be kind of cleaning up the part that I hate to do. And I always leave it to the last, up to the straw bales. We're going to go get a load of soil out at the gardens, and then we will head down to Faribault to Tweetoff's and pick up a few things. Got to get a few more things. Bought some seeds earlier. We'll talk a little bit more about that later in the video, but we're just gonna clean a few more weeds out this morning. The GSPs are off to the dog park, yay, and breakfast is already done. Jack is hanging out here, and we're starting our morning out in the gardens with coffee. Nice little Featherstone mug, Featherstone pottery out of Red Wing. I'm gonna enjoy this before we get gardening. Well, Jax, the garden dog, approves of getting the weeds all cleaned up along the sidewalk down at the entrance where the half circle is. And one of the reasons, it's fun to garden where I garden. I am on the corner of a street, 2nd and Bridge. Lots of people go by. And so it's kind of nice because you get visitors. People stop in and say hi, they wave. Lori from the paint store walked by. She was out walking in town, so stopped and said hi. Mom stopped by from after church, so gardening can be social. Maybe that's one of the reasons. Okay. Michelle made it back from the dog park with the little GSPs. I'm gonna keep cleaning up in my favorite spot, and unlike my usual self, saving the crappy part to the very end, I'm gonna start there. That's a novel idea, and work my way towards the straw bales. But when she comes back out, we're gonna head out to the gardens, get ourselves a load of soil, and finish filling in that hole over there, and hopefully get some grass seed down. I know it's not in the garden, but it's all kind of part of the whole garden design. Filling in a couple of those holes with some soil, filling up down there. Anyways, we'll talk more about that later. Let's pull weeds. we made a little bit of progress, but it is time to head out and get that soil. But I wanted to show you these roots. These are those mallows. Now these got cut off last year, hoed off, but they just grew right back. So do you have to hand dig out all the weeds? No, you don't. I like to do it. One of those reasons. Some people call it therapy. I can't tell you exactly if this is therapy. I just like the look when it's all out. And plus it goes to making it easier for the future. This is the area that got set up first last year. The cells over there got set up first last year. They had less weeds. This area where I'm working right here, the dreaded area that I saved to last, was the last from last year to get cleaned up. So it actually had a little weed seed, weeds that went to seed last year. And probably I hoed off a few of these. And if you just hoe them off, you're gonna end up with, I mean, look at that root. They'll just, you cut them off. Rototilling, that's one of those things, you know, garden tilling. Do you till the garden soil every year? I'm not gonna say don't do it. It's just not for me. I don't mind mixing the soil up, and you can probably find a couple people out there that would say never till. What we're talking about in this mound garden style is we're building up layers, we're building up organic matter, we're building up soil structure, where all the little microorganisms and everything kind of live in there and build this whole structure. When you come in with a rototiller, it's very, very brutal. I mean, this big blade just chopping and turning and chopping and turning. And I did it last year because I needed to clean up an area. So once in a while, breaking it up, using it, not the end of the world if you use a garden tiller every single year to till your soil. Maybe not the best. Maybe that's why some of the farmers are getting higher yields right now, because they're going to no-till. They're doing less till. So they're not turning that soil over every year with the big plows. They're just going in low-till and the yield is up. Maybe not the only reason, but one of the reasons. And if you just come in and till this, you end up with all those roots starting up and growing again. So it just kind of defeats itself. Once it's cleaned up, the trick is keeping it cleaned up. All right, we're gonna go get some soil. We'll come back and hopefully we'll finish knocking out the rest of the weeds around the straw bales. So it's the best part of how a day in the garden plays out. You never know exactly what's gonna get done, how long everything's gonna take. Ran out and picked up a load of soil. That actually went pretty quick. But we're back at 3 o'clock and we just don't feel like going down to the greenhouse in Faribault and running the dogs down there. So we are gonna stay put, which is pretty cool. That means the truck's parked. That means we can do a reward beer early. Yay! A little bit of grain belt, and you probably can't see. That's kind of fitting for the day. Maybe you can see in there. It says The Friendly Beer, which is kind of perfect for today as people are stopping by and you're talking and waving at neighbors. It's the friendly beer kind of day. Ball game going on down at the park. Dukes are playing, which is pretty cool. So I'm gonna work for another hour or so. Try to get the straw bales cleaned up around there and kind of get set up for later this week and next weekend. And it'd be great if I actually got that soil moved out. The rain that was supposed to come in about 3 or 4 today now is gonna come in at 10. However, but cheers, an early reward beer before we wrap things up. So good. Yeah, Virginia bluebells and dandelions make a beautiful color combination. Well, it's not a gully washer by any means, but I did check the radar on my flashlight, otherwise known as my phone, that has a weather app on it. And the heavier rain is, you know, over there, which is just enough to send me in for the day. We're still doing just fine. We don't need to be planting right now. Actually, in 2013, today's May 2nd, so you get an idea. I think it takes me 2 weeks to get a video out. Today's May 2nd, 2013, May 3rd, we had 17 inches of snow here, 17. So we're ahead of schedule, and then you also have to remember most plants mature anywhere from 75 to 90 to 120 days, you know, somewhere in there. So 3-4 months. So as long as stuff gets planted in May, you're good. The other thing is, it's never good to plant this big of a garden all in one day. We'll space it out a little bit, and maybe that's obvious reasons, maybe you know why. It's all about if you plant everything on one day, everything matures on one day, so you get too much. But space it out, and then your produce gets spaced out just a little bit, and that makes a good thing. So we are gonna call it, but as perfect, I left that little stretch right there. We'll get that. There's just a little bit left around the straw bales. We'll see how much rain we get. I think later tonight we're gonna get quite a bit more rain. But that's about it for this episode. This episode. Number 3 of 21 at Home in the Gardens. Thanks so much for following along. If you have any questions about what we're doing here, leave a comment down below, and would love to answer it. We also can, you know, do a video for any specific questions, and then I have a whole bunch of people that if I don't have the answer, we'll find someone. All right, as you saw, Marla stopped by. Actually, kind of funny, Marla stopped by. I sent Henry home with some tomatoes last year, and then Marlis had stopped over 3 times last year to bring some goodies, but we weren't home. Bugger, we missed goodies from Marlis. So hopefully she finds us this year. I'll have to send tomatoes home with Henry. Anyways, time to go find another grain belt, another friendly beer, and enjoy. Take care. Bye-bye.